So hey everybody, to our many fans or subscribers. So if you're watching this, this is not a regular episode. It's just kind of just some words from me or from the team and I, concerning the current situation that our nation is living in now. We recorded our usual episode. We had a great guest. Um, and the decision was kind of, well, I made the executive decision to kind of not really talk about what's happening. I wanted to keep it more of a lighthearted, fun episode to kind of, if you needed a quick escape for 30 minutes, hopefully we can help with that with just our conversation. But afterwards, we had a conversation, all of us, and I now felt that I think it's good for us to at least say some words regarding what's been happening. And again, and not saying that we have a huge following, but maybe there's one or two of you that maybe wants to hear what we think or what words we have to say about the current situation. And if you're unfamiliar, you're living under a rock. As I don't know if you've noticed, there's been a huge movement of protests and I'll even say militarization of police in relation, and I would say the reaction towards the death and honestly the murder of George Floyd, who was murdered in police custody. So, and as you can see, that it's not something new that has happened. But if anything, just for me personally, I think this one really sparked a huge reaction. But I think in and I don't want to go on too long, but I think one of the main reasons is because you can see in the footage, you see a man, you see his life, you see him die. If we're gonna
And you
be,
see him pleading. Yeah, you see him pleading for his life. Like he's asking him, like, I can't breathe. He's telling him, he's letting him know, I can't breathe. I
yeah,
can't. And he stays there, bro. Three
yeah,
three cops.
yeah, and
Three
you
cops.
see it. Well, yeah, and the thing is, in the angle that you see the one officer with his knee on his neck, but you then realize there was two more uh, on the other side. And to make matters worse, there's one officer standing there, not doing much, other than if anything, trying to cover towards the end, cover the person's angle or the shot that he's taking. Um, but yeah, but I know Dana has to go in a bit, but I wanted to ask you, if you had any words or thoughts on the current situation that we're experiencing now, and just what we're living in right now.
Um, I mean, it was it was gonna happen eventually. I think like it just got really bad after them being like even more evidence towards police brutality and everything. So it's not surprising that it happened. It's just I think right now it's crazier than with the whole pandemic thing going on, and now we're having this that it's just been back to back, at least for this year, that things have been happening. But I think as of right now, I mean, they're doing what they have to, in terms of protesting to get the word out. And I mean, some people, it's getting to some people. I think I've been seeing that some cops actually have been taking the knee and have been joining the crowd and protesting and things like that. But then you have different areas where they're just bringing on more violence and everything. So, I mean, it's only going to get crazier, I think. But I think the most important thing to take out of this is that it's still happening. Like, racism is still there and it hasn't gone away, no matter like what people have been saying. And people who have privilege right now are coming out and saying even more things. So it's like it's still there. It's not going to go away. And I've been seeing many videos of people just speaking out and saying like, look, I have kids, we've been fighting for this for years, my grandparents have been fighting for this for years, and nothing has changed. So we need to find something that works better, something that the government can actually listen to. So I don't know. I mean,
Well, thank you for sharing. Bruce, did you have any words or anything you wanted to say regarding what's happening?
Lots to say, bro. That's it's tough times, you know. Like Diana mentioned, like there's a lot of shit going on. It's crazy, but I mean, we. I'm pretty sure a lot of people saw it coming. You know, it's it's a long time coming, uh, and it's reasonable. And I like. I think the only thing that I would have to say to like the people who actually are protesting outside right now, you know, just stay safe. If you do loot, you know, go for big companies. Don't attack your own. Don't attack other, you know, people of color, people who are actually trying to make a living for themselves. Um, you know, you have the right to protest, to you know, express your anger, but like do it towards the right people. Don't go for your own. Don't go, like I said, don't go for those who are trying to build up. Um, it's a hard topic to talk about. And like you said, Lewis, I'm actually glad that we're addressing it, dude, because I did feel kind of weird, just like you know, trying to. But we all have to acknowledge it. Like Diana said, you know, there's racism out there, and we all have to acknowledge that. It's uh, it's a big topic, and it's something that people have to, everyone has to acknowledge, you know, because even in our families, I'm pretty sure, you know, our older generations, they say a little thing here and there, and we have to put them in check. Like, okay,
Yeah.
like, okay, I get it, you're from older generation, but you need to, you know, not say that, please. Uh, but yeah, no, like I said, everyone out there protesting, just be safe. Uh, wear masks, you know, because the whole pandemic and things. Take care of one another. Don't go for each other. I don't know what else to say. I had a lot to say, but I just when it comes down to actually talking, it's just too much. I don't know what to say. Maybe I could bounce some things off of you guys, or whatever you say right now, Lewis.
No, I think you kind of hit the head on the nail, and again, I appreciate you guys like kind of taking the time to do this. I know it's kind of like it's very last minute, but it's, like Bruce said, yeah, I felt weird, just kind of like I wanted to do something, but I feel like we had to do it now, and and
Yeah.
and again, it's not to be like, oh, like there's a trend, right? We kind of
Yeah.
let's take advantage of
No.
it.
Yeah.
It's honestly there. I feel again, not saying we have a huge following, but maybe there's somebody or one or two, or
Yeah.
maybe
Like
for us too. Yeah,
yeah, like you said, we have a platform. We can use it.
yeah,
Like it doesn't matter how many people we have following us. It's people still watching us, and we could still give them our 2 cents. Like, hey, this is what's
yeah,
happening. This is what we think about it, and to let them know that we also stand for the movement. That we're not just
yeah.
gonna stay silent about it either.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And again, like I don't like, and I've told you guys too. Like I don't want to. I really don't want the show to. And not saying that this is anything political, right? But a lot of people say, "Oh, they're political show. They're taking a stance now." And the thing is, we are taking a stance, right? We stand with
Yeah,
you in the movement who are protesting out there. But to those of you who, I guess, for some reason, don't necessarily agree, um, at least for me, my goal, my words now isn't to change your political views, isn't to change whatever you believe in. But if anything, I just want you to understand um, the why there's so much rage and pain, and because again, it's easy to be like, oh, like they're so destructive, this is and that, these people, blah 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 blah. But and I get it, right? Like I'm like for me personally, I'm not the type to be like, yeah, let's go burn down the Target, let's go burn down this, down with this company, whatever, right? But I think it's important. I think it's vital. It's essential to at least acknowledge the why, understand it. I may not go burn down something, but I understand why you're doing it. I get it. I'm with you. If you need, if you're hurt, I'll be there with you. I may not do it, but I understand it. And I hope our words are. It's not to influence you and to change anything, but to at least open your mind and understand the why. To at least come out of this not hating, not uh, isolating a certain, like, oh, they just looted here, this is, but rather to understand why this has been happening, to understand why people are so angry. So they're angry enough, outraged enough to burn down an entire Target, to burn down uh, uh, patrol vehicles. Like there's it's not. I mean, obviously, in the reality is there are people who are going to take advantage of the moment. They're going to be there to destroy just for the sake of destroying. They're going to be there to loot for the sake of looting. But don't. I warn you, do not let that take away from the message that the people are trying to send out, and that is the need for a need for change to stop the continuing trend of injustice towards, and let's be real, towards Black people, towards Black Americans. Like, and there may be some people like, oh, if they don't like it here, then go back to Africa, or go home, or go do this and that. Like, why? Like, if I'm in their place, right? This is my home. I'm gonna fight for my home. I have a right to be here, regardless of, people are like, oh, your legal status, this and that. I'm born and raised here. I do my part, whether it's in helping people or doing, whether financial, whatever it is. Like, this is my home. I've made it my home, and I've gonna fight for my right to be here, but not just be here, but to enjoy its freedoms. And people are like, oh, well, they shouldn't protest that way. And I saw a clip earlier on Instagram from Trevor Noah, right? And I think he had a lot of great points. But one thing I took is that a lot of people were like, oh, that's not the right way to protest. There is no right way to protest.
Yep.
Who has the protest manual? If you have it, give it to me. But there's no right way. When Dr. King was walking down across bridges with children and families, and the people were like, oh, we shouldn't do that. That's not right. It's like, okay. Or when Colin Kaepernick took a knee, which, and if I'm wrong, you can correct me, it wasn't, because I remember the first time that he protested against the national anthem, he sat down. But the reason he took the knee is because he had a conversation with, if I'm correct, a veteran of the military. And if I'm correct, the veteran recommended, hey, I think sitting down doesn't look too well. I think you should take a knee. It looks, I mean, if anything, it looks better, I guess. I think probably what he said, it looks more respectful. So he took the knee. But when he did that, no, that's not right. That's not wrong. And what you guys do, you guys blackballed him. You took away his job, his livelihood. And so now you're upset that people are burning down things. Now you're upset. And then I saw something where somebody was like, oh, wasn't it great when people were stuck at home because of the pandemic and stuff? Y'all weren't saying that when there's people protesting at the beach because they wanted
for haircuts.
For haircuts.
Yeah, dude.
Or when we saw people yelling and essentially spitting on officers guarding, I think, the governor's house or a government building. Where were the rubber bullets then? Where were the gas canisters being thrown? Where was it? And again, maybe there was. Maybe I haven't done enough research, but from what I've seen, there's a huge dichotomy between what we see now and what we've seen in those protests. Just shows you that there is, in fact, a level of privilege in our nation. Like, let's accept it. It's a fact. There's and people are like, oh, it's white privilege. That's what it is. And you can do the argument of have or have not, so we can go deeper, right? Maybe it goes deeper than just white privilege. That's true. But if we're looking at the surface of it, that's what it is. And in this scenario, we've seen that Black Americans time and time again have beat down to such a level of, like, it's almost like you can't understand. Like I was talking to some kids earlier today for a workshop, and I showed them a video or images, right, of I think it was a Birmingham protest, or it was an event where Dr. King and a lot of people marched, right, and that was in 1965, and we saw people being blown away with water hoses with enough water pressure to break the bark off of trees. That was only 55 years ago. Like, this isn't new. It's been happening, and it's still going. You would hope that with the end of segregation or with the end of Jim Crow laws, like, change would happen. But it's like, has it happened? Has there been enough change? And, I don't want to rant on, and I feel like I may be going on a tangent, but it's just, if anything, if you take anything from this, is at least take the time to find the truth within what you see, to find the why, to understand the why. And if you're too lazy to do that, then here's one basic question to maybe help you empathize with the individuals who have died within within police brutality situations, or people who have suffered and managed to survive. How would you feel, or what would happen, or what would you do if that instead of George Floyd, that was you? What would you do if that was your brother? What would you do if that was my mom, or your dad, or your cousin, your uncle? What would you do? Because I'll be honest, if that was my brother, I wouldn't be surprised if I found myself burning down some buildings myself. And to add on to that, centuries of just hatred and towards you, centuries of oppression towards you, centuries of just pain and sorrow, and for every win there's another 10 obstacles you have to hop. Imagine adding that to the fire. Of course you're going to see what you're seeing now. But again, if you still don't want to accept that, then ask yourself, what would you do in that situation if it was you under that officer's knee? Or if it was you, or I mean, if it was your cousin, like I said, your brother, your mom, your dad, like, what would you do? If it was your best friend, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, what would you do? And maybe then you can see the why this is happening. And I'll be honest, like at first I did feel conflicted. I always feel kind of conflicted because I have family and family friends, right, who work in law enforcement. And so my natural instinct is to always give, the officer the benefit of the doubt. But in this case, it's 10 minutes of raw footage of you witness a murder. That's what it is. Like, for me to be like, I don't know. Like, no, like, this is when I'm like, okay, like, this. Like, I know I said a lot, but there are times I just have no words. I really don't. And if you're watching this and you disagree, then that's fine. But again, at least understand the reason why so many Black Americans are angry and frustrated and hurt. At least understand that. Understand why. And like I've been told growing up, if you have nothing nice to say, then shut up. Shut your mouth. If you have nothing constructive, nothing to add to the progress, to the change, then don't say it. Whether it's in person, via Twitter, via Instagram, whatever it is. Just, if you have nothing constructive, nothing progressive to say, and not saying like, oh, like trying to be the next Dr. King or anything, but just adding to the conversation to create change, and just keep your mouth shut. If I'm saying it in a nice manner, because we're getting to a boiling point where it won't be surprised if more blood is shed in the times that we're living. And obviously, I don't think any of us want that. I don't think any of us want more bloodshed. I want change. I know that for sure. But what's it going to take? I ask myself, right? And I guess to get more specific to myself, it's as somebody goes to church, right? Somebody of the faith, or if you want to categorize it as a Christian young man, I ask myself, like, what do I do? Like, I get the power of prayer for me personally, right? I pray, but what more can I do? Because I feel like I haven't done enough. And I'll be honest, like I feel I failed in this, whether it's this platform, or I feel like I failed as a fellow person of color in advancing some type of change. Or maybe my role is just to at least start conversations or have conversations. But yeah, I don't know. I know I said a lot. Maybe a lot of it meant nothing. But I'm gonna stop, because I'm gonna start crying, and I look ugly when I cry. So, but
Oh, bro, you did, bro.
Great timing. Edward just is coming on, so I could stop rambling, and then he has some things to say.
Hey, it's not rambling, bro. You're hitting the truth, man. You're hitting some vital points.
Yeah, man. It's just crazy, man. What's up, Edward? It's good to see you, sir. So yeah, man, just to catch you up. So we all kind of said our piece. I don't know if Bruce, you may have, or Danny have any more to say, but to add you into Edward, just want to ask, what are your thoughts, or what do you kind of?
Can you hear my TV?
Oh, hold on.
Can you hear my TV in the background, or should I? Oh.
What do you got? I'm pretty good. I sound it. You sound pretty good to me.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
So everybody said the piece.
Yeah, and just kind of what are your thoughts on kind of what's been happening, or your experiences, or whatever, or if you just want to say some words towards the people who are out there protesting, or just at home trying to do what they can, whatever. You have the floor.
Like, I'm with it, the whole protest and everything, but I'm actually pretty down with the looting and stuff, but not right now. Like, right after the whole protest, because now you're ruining the whole meaning of the protest. Like, if you just did the whole looting, like, from the very beginning, then okay. But you're doing this, like, because of the protest, supposedly. And this is one of those things where, like, one bad apple just rots the whole thing. So that like just sucks, because I'm pretty sure it's just taking the legitimacy out of the protest. I mean, aside from that, the curfews just suck, like, on everybody else that's not even out there. It's like, what blame do we have? But I do understand why they're doing it. It just sucks, like the curfews. Yeah, I mean, it sucks because right now I'm seeing the news and it's like in Long Beach. I'm like, what the fuck? Why is it in Long Beach? But
yeah, I think they started
slowly
protests in Long Beach too.
Yeah, but it's like it was a peaceful protest. They weren't looting until like today. That's what I'm saying. Like, why all of a sudden? So I'm seeing right now, and at least they're saying, I don't know if it's true, but they're saying a lot of the people that are looting are coming from like LA County. Like, they're going over there to loot now. So that, like, you're making it even worse for us from LA. Like, come on now. And then enough to call like the National Guard. Yeah. Like, they stole, at least yesterday, I know they stole from like a lot of shoe stores that I like. Like, they stole from Riff LA and Little Tokyo. They stole from this spot called like Round 2. And it's like, yeah, they still have like insurance, but you can recover like $7,000 shoes or whatever. Like, Nike's not gonna make them for you again. So yeah, I mean, it just sucks. If anybody's listening to this, like, just be careful. Don't fuck up the message. Keep it good. Because even the cops, they've been saying like, yeah, we're with you guys on the protest and everything. And even the president was like, yeah, go for it. Like, it's your civil right. But as soon as the looting and all that started, it's like, nah, I don't think anybody was with it. But yeah, that's about it. What else can we do? I mean, it's kind of like to me, it's like a bitchier version of like the LA riots. But
no, I get what you're saying, yeah. Because I mean, I know I didn't live through the LA riots because I wasn't even born yet. But yeah, but definitely, I think, at least the way I see it, right, in relation to what Edward said, like, it's definitely a much more peaceful approach. Because back then, at least based on the footage and whatever that you see, like, it was
that thing was crazy.
Yeah. So, but again, this should be, and not necessarily a warning, but I mean, that was then, right? And then now there's more of a peaceful approach to it. But again, it's like a powder keg. If you light the fuse and you really want to light the fuse, things will pop if you want them to. But the thing is, based on what I've seen and read from people who are protesting, that's not what they want. I mean, like I said earlier, and Edward made a good point, like, don't let, and that's the thing with news, right? Like, I always say, like, find the truth. You do it yourself.
Yeah.
Access to it. Well, the news are going to show you what's good. Whether it could be people robbing a CVS. It could be people, whatever, doing this and that. But don't let it steer you away from understanding the why and the message of why people are protesting in the first place. Like it's not like this, oh, like the first black man to be killed in police custody or whatever, or this and that. Like no, this has been a thing throughout history, and that's only because we have access to it now. But I think a good quote, I think Will Smith said it. It's like it's not that the nation has become more racist. It's just that people are starting to film it.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, just if anything, like I said, right, don't let anything steer you away from the message, and understand the why. And again, like if you are privileged, if you're privileged enough to be able to drive down the street without considering, or shoot, if we'll even break it down, if you can walk down the street and have a police patrol car pass by you and you not break a sweat, use that privilege to help change things. Use it. And you see, and I know some people be like, that's straight like out of a movie or something, but you see like white people going up in the front line in arms. And it's like, if that's what needs to happen, that's what needs to happen. If we all need to come together, then we all need to come together.
You know what's something I like that I saw on Instagram? That in Minnesota, there were white people were making like a line in front of all the black folks. Like that's tight. That's love right there. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I think I saw a picture of this guy who had a shirt. If something about if they start shooting, stand behind me. And
Oh,
he also had like hand sanitizer and things like that. So, I mean, I'm all for that. You know, if you can protect and do it, if you have the privilege to do it, then you know.
And
But
even
I
to
think
what?
I was just gonna say like, well, there you have the people that are with them, but and then you also have the people that are just creating chaos. That kind of like I think I was saying that there's a lot of white people who are starting it up in like peaceful like protesting, which is causing like the police to get more brutal on everybody else, but that's only because they're starting it essentially. Like I think I've seen several videos where they're like stop breaking things, like don't, that's not what we're here for, like stop doing it. Most of them are like white people, so I'm just like, you have those people and then you have the people who are also trying to help. So it's just being able to identify which side and stopping it and actually making it a difference rather than making things worse.
Oh, you put it in both ears?
I know, Bruce, did you have something to say? I know.
I forgot what I was gonna say. But essentially they bring up the whole the white people making things worse. Like it's not just like white people too. Like I've seen videos of people of color who they're tagging and they're also breaking things, and the black people who are behind the movement, like they're trying to tell them like don't do that because they're gonna think it's us who are doing it. And so if like anyone, whether white or any other person of color who isn't black, who's trying to help in the protest, who's trying to help them get their voice heard, like y'all should follow them. If they want to keep walking and just ignore buildings, go on with them. Don't go do your own thing, thinking that you're doing it for them. Because like you said, Luz, we gotta make sure that the movement and that the messages does not get lost. And so we gotta stick together, but with them, because this is for them, for all of us. But you can't be going doing your own thing.
Yeah, and it's great because as basic as it sounds, right? Just I mean, naturally, human beings, we just like to complicate things, man. It's at the end of the day, we like to do things differently. But again, the most important thing is just don't divert from the message. If you don't understand, you're trying to understand. Don't let things distract you from the truth or from why. Again, I know I've said it like 1,000 times, but again, understand the why. You don't have to be like, oh, well, I'm definitely pro this, and that, right? Whatever your political views are, like just at least understand why this specific group of people, why Black Americans are like tired,
Enraged.
enraged. And the thing is, and I guess speaking from a personal point, like, Latin Americans, whatever, Hispanics, like, it's almost, I know a lot of people say like, oh, we're pretty much in the same boat. Like, I even say, like, even us, we have even like a teensy bit more privilege, I would say. And again, but I think it has to do with the fact that sometimes it just has to do with the fact that sometimes we're light skinned. Like, it's sometimes just that basic. It's insane to me sometimes. So it's like, if we do have that little bit of privilege, that little more, let's use it to help, to support, to provide a foundation, to strengthen the foundation rather than destroy it or break it. Because together we can do so much, but apart, separate, it, nothing will get changed at all. But yeah, this thing is about to cut off in a second. So, are there any final thoughts? Any final things you guys want to say?
Just everyone stay safe. Continue the movement. Don't let it die. Even if the protests stop, try and keep doing your own thing. On the side, whether it's fundraising money, giving money to other causes, signing petitions. Just don't let it die.
If you guys do go looting, I'm a size 8 in shoes. Nah, I'm playing. Don't do that.
Oh, 9.5 or whatever. But yeah, Oh, Dana, did you have anything? Any last words you want to say?
No, just again, like Bruce said, stay safe. Know what you're fighting for and who you're against.
Sorry, this little cutoff again. Our budget is very low, so we work with what we have. But yeah, no, but like I said before, our usual programming. We still have our other recorded episode. It's a great episode, I think. It's funny. If you need a good laugh, feel free to watch that. But we wanted to take the time to, at least for a couple minutes, have a conversation about this. So let those of you know watching, you're listening to this, that we are with you, in whatever way you need us to be, and stand with you. And again, I if there's anything you take from our conversation, is just don't let anything steer. For those of you who are watching from the outside, right? Even though you're there, don't let anything steer you from the message, right? To fighting injustice, to creating change, to ending this trend of lives being taken, Black lives being taken, in the hands of those who are supposed to be peacekeepers and serving the community. And not to take away, right? Like, again, like, it's easy to say, like, and it's like I said before, it's kind of a conflict, right? Because I know people, I have family who work with or in law enforcement, so I just, at the end of the day, realize that there are good people who genuinely want to create change, and we've seen that, right? We've seen some states, they have their officers have joined with protesters, right, in leading, in trying to send the message out, which is great. But again, you still have the other side of the coin. So, if anything, stay safe out there. You're my prayers, and with you. And yeah, we just, let's just, I don't even know what to say, man. I just hope things change for the better, but not tomorrow, not in the next 30, 40 years, but now, just because, like I told Dan a while back, I saw an interview, I forgot, it was an author, I forgot who it was, but he says, like, when I first started, we said, oh, change is going to come. And now I'm 70 and change hasn't arrived yet. So what am I going to tell my kids? What do I tell my grandchildren? Change is going to come. It's going to come soon. But so, it's unfortunate that happens, right? But, we hope that with movements like this, that change comes now. But so, yeah, so again, stay safe, everybody. And I guess and this is just me because I love this song, but if you really want to get a musical view of what people have been feeling, I listened to J. Cole's song "Be Free." It's a powerful song with a powerful message. I recommend, the studio version, but I think his David Letterman performance is also amazing as well. It's a powerful message. I think a great message, and to understanding, or at least getting some type of insight into the why. But yeah, so stay safe, everybody. Stay fat with PH. We love y'all. We're here for you. And anyway, again, you need us to be our info. Slide into the DMs. You can email us, whatever, whatever we can do to help, or whatever way we can use this platform to help. So I love y'all, and stay safe. And we are here with you. Thank you, guys.